Good morning, afternoon, day, and night, everyone, and welcome back to a very special episode of the Loaded Potato Podcast. My name is Brandon, your host for this evening, and today I have with me a very special guest. Well, not to say that the other ones weren't special too, but the man known as the Dreadlock Demolition Machine. But, dare I say, with the sadness in my voice and a tear in my eye, the former DPW Worlds Champion, the man known as Bojack. How are we doing today, my man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Like you said, it's pretty sad, but first of all, hopefully when is this gonna air?
This is gonna air after next week's show.
Okay, so hopefully by the time they see this, I'll have my championship back. But no, yeah, at the time of recording, I have lost my DPW World Championship, but I will say in the events that I don't get it back, it was a good run. Had it for almost a year. I think I did my best to be a grateful first champion. Hopefully I made some people proud with the run that I had.
For sure, especially because you carry that flag with honor and with pride. And dare I say, you helped carry that company to where it is today. Not to say that everyone else hasn't done it with you. And we all thank you for that, man.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, like it's super easy too because DPW has like such a great roster of dudes that I'm proud representing everyone that's there. When it comes to like on-screen talent or like just people behind the scenes, I love everyone there. So representing and being sort of the guy for DPW, I always held in really high regard.
Yeah, especially too because especially with the new Legacy guys being a part of the Deadlock show too with John and all, especially when they had you in the finals with Everett. To me, as a new Legacy guy, it would have been a no-brainer to put it on Everett, but I'm glad they put it on you because I don't like to dwell on the what ifs. Just seeing what you've done as someone who's came in late into the game for DPW, you've instantly captured my attention from the very beginning.
I think a lot of people sort of felt that way. I don't take it personally at all because Andrew Everett is, he's been around for a long time and he's earned everything that he's achieved. So the fact that I even was able to face against him in the finals was crazy. And so, yeah, anyone coming in from the new Legacy side, which is I was a new Legacy kid. So anyone coming in from a new Legacy side, it's like you said, it's a no-brainer. It's okay, yeah, so Drew's probably going to be, the first champ. And I wouldn't say I was unknown, but compared to someone like Andrew Everett, I'm basically a nobody. So I think a lot of people were surprised to see, the way that we went with stuff. But, and then just touching on that match real quick, that's still one of my favorite matches I've ever had and still my favorite match from this year. And me and Drew got to run it back 2 months ago at AML in, I think it was Hickory, North Carolina. And he's just one of the easiest guys to work. Chemistry is insane.
Yeah, especially being the giant and you being a bigger guy too. So squaring up against the giant is always going to be an impressive feat nonetheless.
He's got the height advantage. I got the strength advantage. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. But even then, so the first time that we actually met was back in September at Raleigh in Victory Lap, which is the very first DPW show that Ivan and I went to, which you can check out on our social medias, the infamous photo of Bojack and I, which funny enough, guys, I told this on the podcast before, but I didn't get the chance to tell you, but I probably have, is that photo was an accident because you were supposed to hold the other side. So
with the where's Tinchy? Yeah.
So it just worked out nonetheless too. It's still made for a great photo, and then we got a better one at the last show with the updated poster too. But
yeah, I didn't. So because I was like, well, y'all are advertising on this side, so let me advertise for y'all real quick. That was my mindset. for that.
Oh, we appreciate that. Like, I'm not complaining. I just thought that was funny too, but it just worked out in the end. And then now here we are, got you on the show too, which we appreciate you coming on for us as well.
Everything comes full circle. Everything comes full circle.
Oh, it fully does too. And plus, if you guys haven't checked out already, hopefully that we had Kid Bandit on not that long ago too. So please go check out that episode whenever that dropped previously. And when I was talking with him, it was just surprising for us that I'm sorry, I'm not really fluent in the whole all that stuff, but it was surprising how they returned. And funny enough, I love the independents a lot more than I do the AEW WWE. Not to say that they aren't great in general. It's just there's a lot more connection between a fan and wrestler. Do you ever want to see yourself in that bigger stage, or would you rather keep the connection personal on the independent level?
So to say that I would never want to be on TV is obviously like not true. But I will say there is always going to be something more special and personal about being on the indies versus like being in that setting. One of my biggest pieces of advice to any wrestling fan like ever is if you have a local indie show anywhere near you, like within an hour, because like realistically, an hour isn't that far to drive. If you have an indie show that's anywhere within an hour, you have to go and see it. Even if it's like, and then like I say this respectfully, because I don't know who's around where, even if it's like the most dog shittest indie show ever, you're gonna have an amazing time. Because being right in front of you is way different than you being like up in the stands staring down at it in a stadium, or you paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars to be front row. It's still not the same, because then you're behind a barricade at that point. You know what I'm saying? It's still not the same as like it being right in front of you. Obviously, yeah, I would like to be, on TV in some capacity. I don't have anywhere like specific right now, just because the entire wrestling landscape is kind of crazy in the moment. But nah, yeah, I definitely think being on TV is something that I'd like to do at some point.
Yeah, and I think I was watching your interview with the All Angles Wrestling podcast or show, and how
Love Sam.
I love that interview too, especially like the stuff that you discussed, which you haven't checked out. Please go check that out too. Is that you guys like in the guys in the locker room? You like to keep it nice etiquette and like keep it all sane, and then you chipping on your love for Punk. Is that love still there after the most recent incidents with him?
Ah, man. See, I will always appreciate CM Punk for getting me to fall in love with wrestling as I did. And I think a lot of people can say that. But like looking at CM Punk now and like all the drama that's going on with him, I think it's just one of those things where like people change and like people get older and people just lose passion for stuff that they've had a great love for over the years. It's just we just change as we get older, and we lose, things become less interesting to us, and we are not willing to give as much to certain things as we were when we were younger. So, and it's just one of those things where, I don't have any like personal resentment against the guy, but to say that I am as big of a fan of him as I was definitely is not the case.
Yeah, as far as like most wrestling fans nowadays, they can honestly say that him now is a different person than he was before, because I started in the summer of Punk. It was my reign of terror. Right. But going into where y'all began for you, it's come to find out, like as of this morning, that you're only 22 years old. Like you're only like 8 months older than me, which is still like fascinating to me how people can just do it so young. Well, not say like do it so young, but like I'm still surprised people have the passion and will, the drive to start so young and get as far as you have within like the 5 years time. Start debuting 2017.
I think, man, that's so weird. And like I don't ever like look back on it until like I get questions like these. But like, I don't know. I feel like North Carolina is just one of the spots where like you just got a lot of young cats because like you got like me. BK Westbrook is like basically my age. We've been wrestling about the same time. I know Drew started really young. Drew started when he was like 14 or 15. Colby started bumping when he was like 11 or 12. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's just like sort of the culture here that like we kind of just like want to get after it, you know? And if you want to get after it, then you just figure out a way to get after it. There's always going to be somewhere to train. There's a bunch of great schools around North Carolina or like not too far outside of North Carolina. So if you want it bad enough, you just find a way to get to it.
Yeah, especially where I'm currently located. I'm located in the Savannah, Georgia area, so like I can either come up to you guys or go down to Florida, or like even stay in the Palmetto State.
And then
But
I think AR Fox's school is in Georgia too. So like even in Georgia, there's a few different places, you know.
that's also true, and that's also funny because I'd basically drive like 5 hours to always see you guys, which I'm doing next week too. So I'll see you next week.
You guys are crazy. I love it though.
Hey man, when you're this dedicated to the game, it's like why even try at this point?
Yeah, I feel you. Did you? There was a fan at the last DPW show. He drove like 12 hours from Canada, and like he came up and talked to me at my merch table, and I was like, dude, you are insane, but we are so happy to have you here, though.
Exactly. Because even when I last talked to you, and like you never change, which I don't expect you to ever change. Because I feel like you're just this big lovable teddy bear that everyone can just talk to.
And that I people always like see like me like in the ring, and then they're like, oh, he's probably real. Like even like wrestlers, like other wrestlers have like come up to me and like, yeah, I thought you were like really mean, and like I thought you'd be pretty hard to approach just because like I seen how you are in the ring. But then like I talked to you and you're just like a normal dude, and I was like, yeah, just a guy.
I feel like starting out with like all this other stuff with like, because I don't tend myself to be a people person. It's more the fact of having the opportunity to talk to just normal dudes who love to perform is still it's like a twist in like the knob, but like, okay, there are these people. Because I've like my first ever professional wrestler I've met was Jericho, but he was touring with Fozzy, so that's how I inadvertently met him. Mm-hmm. But meeting like all of you guys and like having a chat with all of you is still always surreal, which I always thank you for.
Of course, man. I love meeting you guys like wherever we go. It's so cool to talk to different people from different walks of life. That's another thing with wrestling that like I feel like we obviously like consciously think about it, but like whenever it comes up we don't mention it. It's like we get to meet so many people. It's like I'm not a super social dude, but like I can make conversation, and I like talking to people at shows. When I'm in my personal life, I kind of like, you know, I like to keep it sort of quiet and then I kind of rest, but I think that's because when I'm at these shows all weekend, I have to meet and talk to so many people. But that's I gotta imagine from your point of view, it's probably crazy like talking to us and we're just like normal guys, and then like talking to Chris Jericho. I can imagine Chris Jericho is just like such a big personality because he's just such a superstar just like as a human being. So I'm sure that was pretty crazy. Yeah, like what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but also going on back to September show, that was honestly hands down the greatest DPW show of all time in my opinion. Like I can fight every single DPW supporter for two reasons. One, that was also my birthday.
Oh yeah.
and second, not to take away from your match with Jay Malachi, which I also like believe that was match of the night, was the time limit draw tag match between Horsemen and Violence.
Those are two of the best tag teams in the world right now. And even though they are already at a lot of places, they deserve to be everywhere. They deserve to be in even more places. And like I said, both of those teams already travel a lot. They deserve to be everywhere, freaking everywhere. I love all four of those guys, and I've only been in the ring with half of both the tag teams. I've never done anything with Anthony Henry. I've never done anything with Dom, but I faced Kevin Koo at DPW, obviously, in the tournament, and then I faced him again at Southeast Uncharted over the summer, and then I faced JD Drake more times than I can count, really, because he is just one of those dudes that, as an athletic big guy, JD Drake is obviously someone that I look up to, and he just goes out of his way, first of all, to remind me that I am not shit, and I love him for that. He definitely keeps me grounded in a respectful way, and I love him for that. But also he just continuously, I never even need to ask him. He'll just go out of his way to give me advice, and I appreciate that so much because, like, he's someone that is, like, killing it on every spectrum right now. And, a lot of these guys, they're so busy, you don't want to, like, bother them, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, they're calling their matches or shit, or, like, they just got done wrestling, so they're trying to wind down. So, like, maybe you don't want to, like, walk up and be like, hey, did you see that, blah, 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 blah. He'll watch. If we're on the same show, he'll watch my match. And he'll just have, like, a list of stuff that he's like, this went well. This you could have done differently. This went not so well. And I appreciate that anytime we get to have those talks.
It's amazing. Like, also bring up the topic of people who help you along the way. Is besides JD Drake, is there another individual after your time in training that's really, like, opened your eyes, saying, like, wow, this is someone who I can call a friend, also who really appreciates the sport and wants to help everyone?
Man. Andrew Everett is definitely up there too. We haven't had, like, as many talks just because I haven't known him as long. I didn't meet him until last year. But in the time that I've known him, he has been a very positive driving force in me, like, wanting to improve myself any way that I can. I think that match that we had earlier this year just, like, sort of, like, lit a fire under me that I was like, I walked away from that match. I was like, that's one of the best matches I've ever had. And I want to be able to have that feeling, like, every single time. And I want to be able to have that feeling anytime I step in the ring with anybody. So Drew's another one. And then this one's probably, like, gonna surprise some people. Patrick Scott is another one, man, because me and Patrick Scott have just been friends in real life for years. Patrick Scott was there the first day I started training. Excuse me, fucking got a little bit of a cold, so I'm leaking from every orifice right now. But Patrick Scott was there my first day of training, and he has given me so much, like, real life advice, but also, like, wrestling advice, both in ring and non in ring. Like, this the little stuff that, like, we don't think you'd need, like, a lot of help with, but, like, is actually hard as fuck. Like, the gear and, like getting licensed and shit like that, and, like, setting up a resume and all those kind of things. Patrick Scott has been there for a lot of those things for me, and he is easily, like, one of my best friends and someone that I appreciate that has helped me get to where I am.
Yeah, agreed. Because if I'm not mistaken, you faced him in your debut match with your partner Zeke, and he had Donnie Ray as his partner too. Is that correct?
So that's from Cage Match. That is not true.
Okay.
I don't know. Cage Match is so good and so bad at getting this information. So that was for a promotion that I'll not get into it, but no. So, like, the first match that I technically ever had was me and my friend Antonio Ace, who unfortunately retired earlier this year. It was me and him against Patrick Scott and Donnie Ray. That was in like 2017. And yeah, and it was like, hey, these guys trust you. Some people canceled. We need another match on the show. And we're like, all right, yeah, cool. And so we did it. It was like a simple little like 7-minute tag match. I don't know if there's footage of it anywhere, but it wasn't bad for because Patrick and Donnie were still like they had some time in, but like they weren't like vets or anything. And like me and Ace were like that was like Ace's like second or third, like maybe his fourth match. That was my first. So considering how new everyone was, I thought it was fine. And then I've only faced Patrick a handful of times, but every single time it gets better than the last. And I think we definitely need another one coming up here soon.
For sure. Hey, Deadlock guys, you hear that? Please book that.
Let me whoop his ass. And Chris Danger. Whoop his ass.
Danger needs to respond to his emails so he can get on the pod like he said he would. Not throwing
Get
shade.
him.
Not throwing shade.
Get him.
Deadlock boys too.
Get him.
No, but especially because I talked with Kid Bandit about their origin name, how they became Kid Bandit. I find it interesting with your name too, because a lot of people are gonna automatically assume, including myself, even though I'd never seen the show previously, it was BoJack Horseman. But come to find out, it's from Dragon Ball. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, and then I think the only reason that the correlation even exists is because around the time that I debuted is when BoJack Horseman was at like peak popularity. So like that's what everyone like immediately goes to. I've never seen BoJack Horseman in my life, and like I wasn't even consciously aware of the show when I was like, yeah, that's my wrestling name. No, I was always a big Dragon Ball guy, and so that's where I got the name from. Because like I played around with some different last names, and then I think I've told this story before. I think it was Patrick. It was either Patrick or Jakob Hermeyer, but I'm positive it was Patrick. He was like, I was like, man, I just can't find a last name that I like. And he was like, just don't have a last name. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Just don't have a last name. He's like, well, you don't need a last name. He's like, you're like just a big badass dude. Like, you don't need a last name. You could just be Bojack and just kick people's ass. And it like blew my mind.
See, it's always those little things that really surprise us, but you like, yeah, it works so well. Because especially with you coming out to that your own custom theme song, or like remix at least, is that everyone like this? It's a perfect singing song and a perfect chant too.
I don't even know how that started, because I didn't start that, and like I didn't ask anyone to start that. That is just something that just naturally happened, and then the more it happened, the more people started joining in on it, and it just grown to the point where like me and like other people will just like sing it, like just because. Or like I'll walk into a room or they're like other like somewhere where like other wrestlers will be, and everyone just starts singing it. I am really good friends with a lot of the people at the Palmetto Wrestling Academy in South Carolina, and they just randomly had like a pool party or something on a random weekend, and they were playing, I don't remember what they were doing. They were playing something. I don't think it was beer pong, but it was like something similar to beer pong. And it was somebody's turn, and they were trying to psych the other person out. And so they just start singing my song. And then like everyone joins in. And then someone like took a video of like all these people just at a fucking pool party just singing the Bojack song. And I was like, what is happening? How did this? I don't know how this shit even started, but I love it so much. It's so cool. And then that's one of those things that, like, going back to like the TV question, I think would be hard to translate over, because in a smaller like indie setting, all you need is like a handful of people to start doing that. And then it's like when I worked GCW earlier this year, a lot of those people don't know who I am, like the GCW fans. But I work in Charlotte a lot. So there was a heavy pocket of Charlotte wrestling fans that know me, and they started it. So then all the GCW people heard the pocket, and then everyone started doing it. Whereas if I work in like a big stadium and there's a pocket of people doing it, none of these people are going to hear this pocket of people. And even if more people join in, it's most likely not going to get picked up on a camera. So like, that's one of those things that, you know, I just got to like fingers crossed and hopefully it works out, because that's so cool. And it's like my favorite part of my entrance. So if I don't get that to carry over with me, I'll be real sad.
Yeah, and especially because you have like a very like your song suits you so well. It's like not even funny. It's that this Bojack, this big guy coming to kick your ass, coming at this fucking like bass boosted tempo. Like, you know, like you're gonna go to work. Was there ever a time where like, does it have to be like any like other like specific song in general? Like, is there like a song on the radio that you feel like could attribute that to the Bojack character today?
So the first song that I even considered using was "Win" by J-Rock. Just because I'm a big horns guy. Anything with like horns in it, like I'm like, ooh, what's that? So that was what I used to find the Bojack song. So the Bojack song itself is just like some copyright free thing on YouTube. But then as Azrael, one of the members of the High Flying Star Machines, he makes like music. So he was like, hey, do you want me to make like a version of this that like you can own? So like we don't ever have to deal with any like copyright bullshit or whatever, but also like I can make it cooler than what you're already using. And I was pretty attached to it. And then we had to do some tinkering with it. So like, because even the version I'm using now is not the very first version he made. Because he made the first version and it was really cool. But I was like, I need more horns. He wanted to add more drills and like background beats to it. And then there was some other stuff that we just had to play around with. So like we had to do a little bit of tinkering to get it to where it's at right now. But yeah, so like real life song is "Win" by J-Rock and "Trophies" by Drake. Those are like the two main ones that like I used to find the copyright free thing that became my music.
Yeah, because I feel like any wrestling fan, like if I was a wrestler, what song would I choose? For me, like
everyone has one. Everyone has one.
For me, it had to be a song people can sing to rather than just like play with. Like, because the song I would choose is from an underground rock band out of Florida called Gunshine, called "Feel Alright." Mm-hmm. So it just works out perfectly. Yeah, so like I said prior, like your theme song fits you so well, so I don't think anyone else can ever take that away from you. I hope you can actually take that to the higher stages too, rather than just make you someone else.
That is, and this is something that like I'm hoping just I don't have to deal with. I'm willing to fight my ass off to keep that song, or at least like a version of that, because I know like when you get to like the TV level, everyone wants to like put their own like form of branding on you. That, and I get that. That's fine. But like this song is so me that I don't think I work with like anything else really, you know? So like even if they want to make their own version of it, that's fine. But it's gotta be like some kind of similar. It's gotta be something similar. Or it's not the same. It's not the same.
For sure. You hear that, people? Keep Bojack's theme. Keep Bojack.
I'm gonna get it on fucking Spotify soon and YouTube, like the official version. I know a lot of people have been asking for it, so we'll get it on there soon.
Please, that's gonna be amazing workout music too. Also, all right. So also on the topic of your repertoire, recently, like a couple weeks ago on your Instagram, you stated that if you weren't such a big guy, you'd be a high flyer. Is that correct? That's why you like working with the more acrobatic people and have them dive on you?
Yeah. I it's so stupid because like whenever we're at training, like I will not to say that these guys like don't come up with their own offense, but I think of so many ideas for guys like Diego and like Tenshi and like Daniel Crossley, because there's so much cool shit that I can't do because I'm so big. But like I'm like, hey, it'd be cool if you did this. And then they do it and they're like, wow, that's really cool. And I'm like, yeah, I'd do it if I could.
I feel like that would be like every wrestler or wrestling fan's dream, just to be a high flyer. But like, I think when I play the video games, I become more of like a technical wrestler rather than a high flyer, because I feel like that'd be more me.
See, I'm the weird way though, because like when I play the video games, I want to be a powerhouse guy because I just like fucking chugging people around. But like in a real life sense, I'm already chucking people around, you know, and I think being able to do that really cool video game shit in real life is like what is like the appeal of it to me. And I think that's why me and Andrew Everett have such chemistry, because he wishes he is 7'4", but like I said, I got the power advantage. So he wants to be a power guy and I want to be a high flyer. So whenever we have these matches, we're just like stuck in the opposite's body. So it's like, hey, it'd be cool if you did this, because if I was your size, this is what I would do.
For sure. Also, back on the topic of video games, you also, as we can clearly see, I feel like you stream a lot too. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I stream pretty regularly. I don't have any sort of schedule or anything, but yeah, I stream pretty regularly.
Is there a specific game you're playing currently?
So I play a lot of Fortnite. That's not like my main game, but it's like an easy go-to game just because it's like something I can sort of just like turn on and like not really like have to like try super hard at. But no, I play a whole variety of stuff. Me and my buddy Tyler El Guapo, we we are both obsessed with a game called Stardew Valley, where if you ever played any of the old Game Boy or GameCube games, there was a game back then called any other time I can remember the name.
It'll hit you.
But it's another old farming game. I can't remember. But yeah. So it's just like a little farming game, but like you can get like absorbed in it. And one time we played it till like 10 in the morning. We were streaming until like 10 in the morning. And then like we have our fans coming in and they're like, guys, I'm going to work. Like, why are you still streaming right now? It's like, hey man, got crops to tend to, baby.
Exactly.
But now we play like a lot of stuff. We play like a duck game. We play Rumbleverse. Rumbleverse is like Fortnite, but with like wrestling. We play a whole mix of stuff.
Have you had the chance to play Overwatch 2 at all?
A little bit. I'm not too into Overwatch, and maybe I just need to like be more into it. So I never even played the first Overwatch. So, but I think if I did, I'd be more into Overwatch 2, because I hear like Overwatch 2 sort of scaled back in like some of the things that Overwatch 1 had. So I think if I started out with 1, then maybe I'd be more into it. But no, I'm not too into it, but like maybe it's just something that I need to spend more time with.
Yeah, speaking of Overwatch, we're going to play our weekly segment of Fuck Activision Blizzard, because we hate that company.
Yeah, I'm down. Hey, I don't have any personal beef, but I'm down with fuck all the big companies. Fuck Epic while we're here. Yeah.
Fuck Epic, fuck Nintendo, fuck them all.
Fuck them all. Yeah.
Exactly. But if you guys haven't done that right, check the description for what a maneuver for his merchandising, because Dreadlock Demolition Machine shirt.
So, I actually have a pro wrestling tees store now because I'll just say some stuff happened with what a maneuver, and so I don't really like. I need to get that taken down. So I have more designs going up on the pro wrestling tees. I don't have one on me right now, but I advertised it the other day. It's like someone made me a really cool. Everyone knows I'm a super huge Tyler the Creator nerd, and someone made me a shirt themed off of his latest album, Call Me If You Get Lost, and it's got like the color scheme and fucking everything. And they made me a whole bunch of different designs, and so I just dropped a blue one and a brown version of those shirts on my pro wrestling tees, as well as the Dreadlock Demolition Machine you just held up, and the white OG, like just Bojack face shirt that I've been selling forever. So all those can be found on my Pro Wrestling Tees. I think it's like prowrestlingtees.com/Bojack, I think is the link for it.
Link in the description, peoples. And also check out his Instagram too and follow him on Twitter. He likes to talk about anime too.
I do. I talk about everything on Twitter, man.
Is there a current show in the anime world that you're currently watching?
Oh my God, that's such a loaded question.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
So I'm really big into Spy Family right now. I think I'm almost caught up on season 2. I need to catch up on My Hero Academia season 6. A friend of mine got me watching Mob Psycho 100, so I need to put more time into that. I just finished Reincarnated as a Slime season 2. I just finished Rising of the Shield Hero season 2. I gotta catch up. I'm like super behind on everything revolving Demon Slayer. I have to watch the movie. I have to watch the second season. I'm so behind on everything. And then I've also just been rewatching Naruto just because.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I feel like you ask any anime fan, is like, yep, I need to catch up on this. Here's my watch list that I'm never gonna watch.
Yep. It just grows. It just continues to grow. Cause then there's a guy called or his channel name is Giga Gigguk on YouTube, who he just talks about like anime and shit. And he has these videos where he'll be like fall 2022 anime in a nutshell.
Since no one asked.
Yeah. And so I'll find so many like niche ones from there that like I would never have even picked up just on my own. And I'll go and I'll add like most of those to my watch list, and I just don't ever get to them.
Yeah, that's basically me too. But I can say for certain I'm catching slowly, like as they're coming out. Chainsaw Man is the only one I'm currently staying on at the moment.
That too. That's on my list.
Like, do you ever draw? Because I know Bandit likes to draw from anime at times. Have you ever considered putting, like, as your name is from the Dragon Ball? Do you ever put it like the Goku or like Dragon Ball like stuff like on your attire? Or ever crossed your mind? I feel like it would go well.
My gear is the way my gear's set up, it's hard to like deviate, because it's not hard to deviate. I'm so in love with like my current set of gear that I feel like if I try to make any major changes to it, it's gonna like get fucked up. Just because I worry about everything so much. But no, so I unintentionally sort of have like the gold. People have pointed out that the gold one kind of looks like Saiyan armor. So I'm kind of just what I'm rolling with now. It's like the gold one is Saiyan armor, even though it's not. But like it basically is. People thought the blue one was Saiyan armor, which like that's not either. But like I'm probably gonna get like a blue Saiyan armor one. I could probably get like a Goku colored one, maybe. I had a really cool design for a Thanos vest that I never got made. And like now it's just too late. It's too late now. And like if Thanos is ever just randomly cool again, I might bust it out. But nah, so I have the design like made. It's like sitting in a file somewhere. And I just never actually got it made in time. And like now fucking all the Thanos shit is like fucking 4 years old now. So no one cares anymore.
Yeah. And also another thing is that I found out recently is that you also have a degree in computer programming, correct?
Yes, I do.
What language did you learn?
So we learned a little bit of all of them. A little bit of C#, a little bit of C, Visual Basic. I took a class in Python, but like we only learned like the basics of them. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have to get like too deep into them. So I have like very minimal basic knowledge in all of these. So then if I ever did want to pursue more, I have like that basic ground knowledge to keep going further in it. That is a very good question because most people probably have no idea what we're even talking.
So currently at the moment, I'm taking a classes for Python. So like we're doing fully in depth and all that stuff. And
Python was probably one of my favorite ones. I feel like it was like something about it because like the differences in these languages is like so minimal that like most of them like you can't even really say like what the major difference is. But something about Python was just felt better to me.
It's a lot more straightforward than most.
Yeah.
Because my other co-host Ivan, he took the same courses I've taken right now, and he also learned Rust. And he's also like a tech guy over at Nine Line Apparel. And he uses Linux, so he's very into like the programming world.
Oh wow!
And I use it too, but not on this computer though. I used to.
Yeah, I purely only learned that stuff because like I've said this before too. So I had no real interest in college. But that was the deal that I had to work out with Mama Bojack at the time, was that, hey, if you want to start this wrestling shit so young, you need to get your degree too, in case like, you know, in case you end up not being able to succeed in it. Not that she's always been my biggest supporter. So like she knew like I'd be able to achieve whatever I like set my mind to. But like wrestling is such a unpredictable fucking beast of a thing that like you just never know. It's like maybe you get hurt, maybe things just don't work out, whatever. Get this degree so you have something to fall back on. So like if it were up to me, I just would have never even went to college. So I totally have this degree as just like a fallback plan. But like I think it's really interesting that like computer programming is what I went for. Because like when you think like fallback degree, it's probably like I'm gonna get something in communication or something like really basic. But it's like, nope, computer programming.
But people would be surprised that like a lot of companies actually need people who like understand computer programming because it's such an evolving thing nowadays.
I think that was my drive to that was what I wanted to learn, because it's the way technology is just growing. There's a constant demand for people that understand how technology works and how programming works. So I was like, well, if I could just get the basics down, then I could just come back to this later if I need to. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was my drive for why I did computer programming.
Yeah, that's what kind of I'm doing it too, just because it ties in, because I love technology as a whole, and plus it's always so fascinating to what it can do. But also like attributing that to like other things is like, well, I have this, but like it could be like a side gig if I needed it to be.
Yeah. Because like there are like just quick like, you know, technology is such a hybrid of a being that like there's jobs that was like, okay, I can just knock this out real quick and paid cool, and there's also like careers that you can make out of it.
Oh yeah, that is for sure. But also, just to quickly jump back into the topic of wrestling, when did your love of wrestling first begin? Like, what was your era of here?
So, and this, I always get like flack from this from my wrestling fans. And like for those of y'all that like know me from like the Goon Squad stuff, we talked about this on the first Goon Squad podcast. My first video game that I like actively remember was like SmackDown versus Raw 2009. So like I would like SmackDown vs. Raw 2009 is a good one, but like I can admit that's the start of the decline. It's 2009. Because like I played like Shut Your Mouth, but like I was so young when I played that, like I was just smashing buttons, you know. So the first game that I actually like played was 2009. And so then that's just when I started watching wrestling, because so I got into it a little later than most people do. But like I was hooked as soon as I got in. And then the first like television of wrestling that I ever watched was ECW in 2009. So again, I'm like, people were like, man, how did you even like stick around in this shit? And I was like, listen, dude, I had no I had no basis of comparison because this is my first exposure to it. Now that I have seen way more stuff, I know that what I was watching was like not the best. But at the time, like I was still a kid, and so like this shit was still really cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, granted, my first exposure, like watching it is when R-Truth went on that heel run.
Oh, see, that was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah, but I always attributed him to being the guy who rapped because I started in SVR 11.
That was a good game.
Oh, like I'm not saying if it was bad either way. It's just I think all the SVR games are fun, like no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, do you still play the current ones now?
So I sort of fell off on 17. I think 17 is the last one that I ever played. And I didn't even buy 17. A friend was buying 19 and just had 17 still, and he just gave it to me because he didn't play it anymore. So 17 is the last game that I've owned. And I sort of just fell off from there just because a lot of my I didn't really meet guys like Tyler and Tenchi and them until like, when did Tenchi start training? Tenchi started training in like 2020-ish. I had met Tyler when I first started training, but me and Tyler didn't become close until like about the same time Tenchi started training, like 2020. It's like COVID time is when we all became close. So at the time, I didn't really have any friends that like really played these games other than like the one. So I kind of didn't really see the need in buying them. And then like the career modes weren't really that interesting to me. And so like the appeal of these games is playing with other people. And like I didn't want to play them online, and like no one I knew had them. So I sort of just like fell off them at that point.
Which is fair enough. But like if you were to get back into it right now, I'd highly recommend you checking out 19 and the most recent one, 23, because in between, don't. I'll say that now.
Yeah, I heard I've seen gameplay for 22, and 22 is good. And then I saw some people play 19, and 19 looked fun. So you know, I maybe someday, but right now, like sports, wrestling is such a weird thing because like it's not like sports simulation, but like it is. And it's like not in a sense that like Madden is, but also it's like I think my favorite wrestling game is WWE All Stars, just because like I like being able to fucking bounce 50 feet in the air for a fucking elbow drop, you know what I'm saying? And like it also played on the same mechanics as like the old TNA game, which like that one was really fun too.
For sure.
I think All Stars is like my last game where I was like, yeah, this is my favorite. But like, you know, so maybe I'll get back into them someday. But right now it's not looking so hot.
I feel like if you just bring a console backstage to any of the DPW shows, all of them would just sit down and just play. Let's be real here.
We almost, I think, and I don't think I'll get in trouble for saying this. I think we almost did. I think there was one show where like we were talking about like doing a Here Comes the Pain thing, and then like it just sort of fell apart and like we couldn't do it. But like I'm pretty sure we were like seriously considering doing that at one point.
I feel like that'd be an amazing thing, especially for DPW and just the James, Tony, and Johnny. Like, as all wrestling video game guys, you guys, they can have a live tournament. Like, come on, like with 5 head, like let's go.
Yeah. So like maybe that's something they're still trying to consider doing. But also like, you know, show days are so fucking hectic that like I also understand not trying to run a video game tournament while you're trying to make sure the show goes off well.
Well, I'm talking about live, like in the ring, like you guys set up a big screen.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll happen someday.
Oh yeah, for sure. I just feel like the writing's on the wall at that point.
Yeah.
But also, as far as like backstage goes, like, because I also was heard that you like booking a lot of the shows, or at least help produce the show cards as well.
So not at all. DPW. I am not in an office sense in any capacity. There's my home promotion. Other than DPW, my home promotion, PWF, is where I help producing stuff. But for DPW, I'm just in-ring talent. I don't do any like booking or producing or anything of that sense.
And do you guys have a lot of free reign as far as like you guys like if they just give you like okay who's over, but like they don't give you what happens in between? Is that all your guys' work, or do they have at least some say?
We'll get like light notes just so that like, you know, because there'll be like stories that we're trying to tell, and so it'll be something that they want to call back to in the future. But like it's nothing more than that. It's nothing like, hey, if we could get some form of this, that'd be cool, and then they just let us figure out the rest. So that's all it is. Like we'll get like a light note for storyline purposes, but even then, if it's like if it's something that isn't really like integral to any storylines, they basically just let us do whatever we want. You know, it's like, here's how long you have, here's who's up, go out there and just do your shit. You know, so
yeah, that's why
it's very liberating.
Yeah, for sure. Cause I feel like you guys are always having fun when you guys in that ring, no matter what. Even if like you're on the losing end, you guys looks like you're always having fun.
And I think that's because the crowd is a big part of it, because there will be shows where we're fucking killing ourselves, and then like shows not DPW where we'll be fucking killing ourselves, and then like people are just sitting on their hands and like just aren't reacting to shit, and it's like nothing because of shit we're doing. They just aren't making noise. But like that is never the case at a DPW show. Like the DPW fans are the most electric crowd I've ever been in front of. So even when like we're doing like goofy shit, like they're just in for all of it. They just want to have fun.
Yeah. So basically, you've wrestled on every single show, DPW show, Know the Man. Is there a specific crowd in general that you believe was as of this year and last year, the top tier, like craziest show you ever performed in front of?
Man,
you don't have to give, you don't have to say one. You can say multiple, just to make it fair.
No, everyone. I'm trying to think because we have had a lot of shows. I know we're just now coming up on the 1 year, so like it's really not that. We've had a lot of shows. I feel like the crowd for Volume 2 of Fire was kind of nuts, especially considering how long that taping was. They were pretty crazy. All of the fire crowds were crazy. Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. All the fire crowds were insane. The second time we ran caught the DPW Demodome, that big fucking building. That was when it was me and Donnie, and we opened the show. That one might be the top because energy fucking was kicking up high soon as and it was hot too. It was so crazy. It was so hot in that building, but like the energy was fucking up the entire time. And then we started the show with me and Donnie, and then we main evented with Andrew Everett and Takeshita. So like the energy was fucking just riding throughout that whole show. So I think that's probably like number one, I think.
Yeah, because like, look, because I stated previously, my first show was the Victory Lap show. And the funny thing was that I think I kind of inadvertently started this for one of your referees, Wiggins. I was like, hey, Steiner. So I think that's where the whole like, hoo, every time he comes out type thing was too.
Wiggins is one of my dudes, man. So Wiggins, Wiggins works in like sort of like South Carolina and like Georgia ish. So there's a promotion that I work for called PCW in South Carolina, and like Wiggins is regularly a ref there. So he's like one of my dudes. Love Wiggins.
Shout out to Wiggins because I love that man too.
Ref Stash, that's my guy.
Exactly. You can't beat it. Besides Kevin, he's like one of the top ones.
Absolutely. I love both. All the DPW referees are my dudes and ladies. Shout out to Yo-Yo too.
Yo-Yo. Oh yeah, for sure. Lady behind the mic. Let's go. But also bringing up.
Oh yeah, Nadia. Yeah, Nadia. Yeah.
Also, bringing up Victory Lap again. So after your spoilers to anyone who hasn't seen Victory Lap, which you go check out on dpwondemand.com. You should guys should go check that out. So after you're initially being attacked by Lucky with the first chair, after the show goes off the air, he gets out the ring, shoves me aside, takes my chair. But funny enough, on that chair was my DPW Deadlock shirt that was still on it as he was beating you up and you sat on too. So I thought,
Oh my god.
yeah, which I thought funny to bring up too because all you hear like, "Hey, that's my shirt."
That's so funny. I didn't even notice just because like there was so much going on. Obviously, like I'm fucking getting beat with a chair, but nah, that's hilarious though.
Yeah, you can see in the behind the scenes on their Patreon. It's like right there, like on your left side. Yeah, because like it's just stuff like that is like, wow. It still amazes me how stuff comes full circle, and plus how much interaction there is with the crowd too. Because I was talking with Bandit when Bandit made his entrance, he pushed kind of like scooted my dad to the side and take his chair to stand in the crowd. So it's always like the ones, which I
I think that's also like a big like DPW thing, but like an indie wrestling thing in general is like those like little crowd interaction moments like that. It's like when fucking dives happen, then fucking pile of chairs just gets fucking obliterated, and everyone's like, not the Reynolds, and then you'll have fucking like Diego do some crazy shit that defies gravity, and then the first thing he does is he either goes and stands on a chair or he throws a chair because he's a fucking psychopath. But like it's like little moments like that like that's what makes us like characters, and like that's what gives us personality, and that's what like makes us more than just people doing shit.
What separates you from independent wrestling for your own show. You guys are your own show no matter what. You guys will never be compared to anyone else, in my opinion. You guys are Deadlock Pro Wrestling at its finest.
We try, man. We definitely try, and I think we all have like a good sense of like the brand. I don't want to say like the brand because I don't like saying that, but like I feel like it's a good way to like encapsulate like what I'm trying to say. Of like we all understand like what DPW is and like what it means to us and what it means to the fans. And so I think because we all have that understanding, everything just works out great.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like I said, I wasn't a day one person, but you guys made me a day one person inadvertently. So it all works out in general. But I won't keep you here for too much longer. I'm gonna wrap up these last couple of questions. Does that sound good?
That's all good.
All right. What drives you to wake up in the morning and still love the thing you do?
Just wanting to be successful in every any facet that I can be. I took up commentary last year, and I fucking love it. I love it just as much as being in the ring sometimes. And like, this is totally a joke. It's totally a joke. But I've made jokes about like, man, I'm about to quit doing this in-ring shit. I'm about to just do commentary for the rest of my career. But like, I totally mean it as a joke, but like, commentary is so fun. And then like, like I said, I started streaming. Streaming is so fun. And like, I've gotten into like some video stuff recently. So like, I just want to be able to just make content and produce things. And just being able to do that in as many ways as I can. It's very tiring, but it's also like very rewarding. And it's very satisfying to be able to put out so much stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I hope to never see you retire anytime soon. Hopefully never, because I feel like you can just live forever at this point.
I got a lot left in the tank.
Oh man, you have like 20 in reserve. Let's be real. All right, so final question to round it off. Who is Bojack in Bojack's eyes?
Bojack is a guy who... man, that's a deep one.
I ask everyone who I interview this, so it's always going to be loaded.
Bojack is a guy who is willing to do whatever he can to prove that he belongs at the top, regardless of if that means I got to get on the mic, regardless of if that means we got to fucking throw hands, regardless of that means we got to bust some weapons out real quick, regardless of if you need me behind the computer, if you need me running sound, if you need me on commentary, if you need me in the ring, fuck, I'll fucking referee if I have to. I just want to prove that I can be the best at regardless of whatever I set my mind to.
For sure. And we hope to see you reach any of those goals in the near future. But then again, that's going to do it, folks. If you guys haven't done it already, please go down to the description, follow Bojack on Twitter, Instagram, his new Pro Wrestling Tees page, and where can we find you on Twitch? Because I feel like I need to watch you on Twitch now.
My Twitch is twitch.tv/dreadlocked, DREDLOCKD.
All right, I got to keep that remembered now.
I'll send you a link.
Oh, please. And again, folks, please send him all the love, buy his merch so you can help him do what he loves to do. And please check out the guys at DPW too, because we all love DPW.
Flags. The flags.
The flags. And as always, folks, we'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya!